They didn't just lie about you. They rewrote your entire existence. They framed your light as chaos, your discernment as delusion, your stillness as guilt. But heaven never agreed, because you, chosen one, you are the opposite of what they said you were. And now the lie is unraveling, in public, in private, in the spirit. This is not just vindication. This is the unsealing of your scroll. Were you hidden or protected, silenced or set apart? The same mouths that accused you are now speechless, and the same eyes that once watched you fall are blinking in disbelief because you're rising. Not bitter, not broken, but undeniably real. You are walking proof that heaven covers what hell cannot comprehend. They cast you as the villain because your peace disrupted their performance. You were the mirror in a masquerade. And when the reflection got too clear, they shattered the glass hoping no one would remember what they saw. But truth doesn't die in darkness. It waits. It grows. It rises like resurrection from sealed tombs. Here in Echoes of the Chosen, we don't just watch the unveiling. We are the unveiling. The misunderstood, the misnamed, the misread, but never misplaced. If you've been called unstable but carried divine order in your bones, if you've been accused in rooms your anointing wasn't allowed to fit in, you're not just part of a story. You are the scroll. Isaiah says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you will be condemned." They rose, they lied, but God wrote the ending. And now that ending is beginning. Right here, right now. Stay until the end, because what's being revealed in this message may explain your entire life. This isn't just a message. It's a divine unmasking. Let the scroll unseal. Let the remnant rise. Let the echo begin. Divine mislabeling. The evidence you were always chosen. They didn't slander you by accident. They sensed you before you even knew yourself, before your gifts had words, before your calling had form. They reacted to something you hadn't even activated yet. It wasn't your mistakes they feared, it was your potential. And because they couldn't name it, they labeled it wrong. They called you difficult, but it was discernment. They called you dramatic, but it was divine perception. They called you unstable, but it was unprocessed power. Joseph was misunderstood by his own brothers, not because of arrogance, but because of favor. They couldn't explain his dreams, so they tried to destroy the dreamer. The same happened to you. When you carry what others are too wounded to receive, they will project their war onto your peace. But prophecy doesn't die under false names. It hides until heaven calls it by the right one. You weren't the villain. You were the vessel. And even now, the atmosphere around your name is shifting. The more they speak, the more their accusations rot in open air. The more you breathe, the more the Spirit confirms, this one was marked by me. Somewhere in the silence, your true name is starting to echo louder than the lie. The silence was sacred. Heaven hid you on purpose. They thought they buried you, but seeds don't scream when planted. They root. Obscurity isn't exile. It's ordination behind the veil. God has always hidden his greatest movements in silence. Moses in the desert, Jesus in the wilderness, David in the field, Esther in the palace, unknown and unrequested. You weren't being ignored. You were being concealed beneath the weight of preparation. The silence wasn't absence. It was divine surveillance. Every tear, every whisper, every unnoticed obedience. Heaven recorded it. The deeper the calling, the longer the hush. Because what God builds in silence is meant to shatter what was built in noise. This wasn't punishment. It was protection from premature exposure. The world wasn't ready, but neither were you. Your anointing needed silence to find its shape. And now that it's formed, the silence is breaking. But the sacredness remains. The fire told the truth. They lied, but pain did not. There are things only fire can reveal. You can fake applause. You can manipulate perception, but you cannot perform pain. When the flames came, everything they said about you should have burned you down, but you remained. You forged. What was meant to destroy you refined you into revelation. You didn't escape the fire, you became it. And in that furnace, the false image of you began to peel. What they said faded. Who God called emerged. Job lost everything. Friends said he was cursed, but heaven bragged about him. Have you considered my servant Job? Sometimes God lets the fire come to reveal that you were the gold all along. And now your silence carries weight. Your presence carries flame. And your eyes carry a knowing that only the furnace can teach. Let that settle like smoke after burning. The truth survived, because the truth was you. The weight of ignoring the call. The enemy's greatest goal was never just to hurt you. It was to distract you from your assignment, because as long as you believe the lie, you will abandon the scroll. When chosen ones forget who they are, generations lose what they were meant to carry. Gideon was called mighty while hiding in a wine press. He didn't see himself. He believed the wrong voice, until the angel interrupted his false narrative with a divine reality. You too were called mighty while you were still doubting your reflection, still apologizing for your gifts, still shrinking in rooms God gave you authority to shift. You weren't delayed. You were disguised by heaven to avoid interception. But now, the veil is lifting, and your alignment is no longer optional. To carry the mantle, you must drop the mask. To walk in the scroll, you must forget their script. This is the holy urgency. You cannot let their lie speak louder than your anointing. Heaven is waiting on your yes. You carry supernatural receipts. Your survival is not subtle. It is supernatural documentation. Every scar is a receipt that says, I passed through what should have killed me. The chosen don't just speak truth, they embody it. You've bled for your discernment. You've wept into wisdom. You've earned silence that echoes like thunder. You don't have to explain anymore. You are the explanation. Elijah walked out of droughts, caves, and call-outs carrying the same fire that once fell from heaven. He wasn't louder, he was clearer. That's you now. The version of you they slandered is nowhere to be found, because this version is wrapped in glory, silent, steady, sent. Your stillness is not surrender, it's a loaded weapon. They tried to read you, but you switched languages. They tried to track you, but you moved into the Spirit. And now you walk differently. Not because of pride, but because you carry the weight of what didn't break you. Let them wonder. You don't owe them a voice when your life already speaks volumes. Heaven's scroll is opening. What you were sent to release. You didn't just survive for yourself. You're carrying revelation for someone else's prison. The scroll with your name was written before their opinions existed. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Your calling predates the betrayal. Your assignment outranks the accusation. And now, it's unsealing itself through your obedience. You were never sent to be liked. You were sent to shift atmospheres. The mantle on your life was born for confrontation, not with people, but with systems, spirits, and silence. Esther didn't ask for the crown, but when the time came, she broke the law of fear to fulfill the law of heaven. That's what's stirring in you now. The scroll is calling, the oil is moving, and your hesitation can no longer hold the message hostage. What you carry is not yours to keep. It was entrusted for such a time as this. You are not alone. The rise of the misunderstood. Remnant, you thought you were the only one, but heaven has been assembling a remnant in the shadows of the earth, hidden in plain sight. Mislabeled prophets, rejected healers, anointed disruptors. You felt out of place because your tribe wasn't in the room yet. But now, they're finding you, and you're finding them. This isn't just a personal breakthrough, it's a prophetic convergence. There are others who carry the same fire, the same ache, the same scrolls pressed into silence. You weren't crazy. You were early, and now the early ones are becoming the earthly ones, sent to disturb darkness with the sound of remembrance. Your voice is an echo of others waking up across the world, and what once felt like exile is now sounding like alignment. Let that recognition wash over you. You are not late, you are not alone, you are not mistaken. You are found among the chosen. Echo activation. This is bigger than you. The story they told about you wasn't just a lie against your name. It was a distraction against your echo. Because what you carry is designed to ripple beyond your timeline. Your healing was never just for your peace. It was for their awakening. When Mary said yes to God, it wasn't just a womb that opened. It was a portal for eternity. Your agreement carries that kind of weight. What was once your silence is now becoming someone else's survival. This echo must continue. Through you, past you, beyond you. Don't let their fiction silence your frequency. What you say now isn't opinion, it's legacy. What you release isn't content, it's continuation. So speak, create, move, pray. Let the echo rise and let their lie finally die. The scroll has been opened, and now your life is the sound it makes. You weren't misunderstood because you were broken. You were misunderstood because you were different. And difference has always been dangerous to systems built on fear. You were never the chaos. You were the correction, sent not to fit in, but to disturb the lie. Everything they said you were became the mask they wore, while you carried the truth in silence, waiting for heaven's hour. Now that hour has come, and the same voice that called Lazarus out of the tomb is calling you, not to explain, not to defend, but to stand. You are the evidence. That fire does not destroy the chosen, it reveals them. You've passed through rejection, walked through silence, carried the betrayal, and still you rise with clarity in your voice and God in your breath. You have been marked, you have been forged, and now you are being sent. If this word cracked something open inside you, if it felt like confirmation, long buried, finally surfaced, then this was never just a video. It was a divine appointment, a scroll delivered in due season. Comment 777. If your spirit knows this word was for you, drop a testimony. Speak your echo. Tell the world what part awakened your memory. And if you know you are part of the remnant, don't drift alone. Subscribe and stay connected to echoes of the chosen. Because the remnant isn't rising separately. We're rising together. You are not a mistake. You are not a distortion. You are not the lie they sold. You are not alone. You are the next echo.